How would you react if today we detected an extraterrestrial signal? Should we respond, and in so doing, announce our existence? What if we're already doing that without even realizing it? Ahead, we'll learn about signals we're purposefully sending out, and, more importantly, signals we're accidentally sending out. Stay tuned for more. We can classify our signals to extraterrestrials in two types: direct, or intentional signals we send to a destination, and indirect, or unintentional signals. Let's discuss direct signals first. The first intentional signal was sent into space in 1974 and included basic information about humanity and Earth. You're looking at a representation here of what that signal contained. How do you feel about sending a postcard to a potentially superior and hostile race with our address? Remember, we go out of our way to have hard-to-guess passwords, and we're voluntarily sending out potentially deadly information about ourselves? Sleep easy, though. The signal was really little more than a publicity stunt. Remember, any electromagnetic signal will travel with the speed of c. That means that the signal in return will arrive long after the death of any present and many future generations. We may have doomed a distant future generation. In this case, M13 is 20,000 light years distance. For a round-trip signal, that's a time 46,000 years. Also, consider this. M13 is a globular cluster. It is made up of ancient stars. Most massive stars have died out by violent supernovas, killing off potentially habitable worlds around it. Only the very small cool stars and red giant stars remain. That means that any planets in the Goldilocks zone, covered in another video, are likely long since rendered uninhabitable by the ever-growing central star. In the image here, you see how our sun's red giant phase will impact our own solar system, completely engulfing the Earth. We've sent out other signals since then as well. Doritos, not wanting to miss a potential fortune in additional revenue, sent out a commercial to the star 47 UMA, that's Ursa Majoris, in 2008. Its signal is now reaching stars around 12 light years away. Stockholders are anxious for the returns.
Doritos.
A new group has recently formed called Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or METI. In 2017, they sent a message to the star Luton's star at a distance of 12.4 light years. This message includes information about math, music, and technology. It also includes instructions on how to reply. Sleep well, knowing some group has decided to speak for the entire planet, present and future. Electromagnetic messaging is not the only form of communication we've tried. We've sent messages on spacecraft as well, like the plaque on Pioneer 10, as you see in the image. This message includes basic information about human anatomy, our solar system, and our place within it. The Voyager spacecraft included a phonograph record with the sounds and images of life on Earth. Now, if this seems risky to you, just imagine the likelihood of a small spacecraft being discovered wandering in the vastness of space. Indirect signals, or Leakage is a second type of extraterrestrial signal. It is an indirect signal that we're sending out by accident, completely without the intent to communicate. The following scene from the movie Contact demonstrates signal leakage.
Clearly, I've never been there, but this feels like
Situation, obviously a major malfunction.
this is incoming family.
Their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Robert Kennedy was shot in that ballroom.
A sniper has fired at President Kennedy.
Never done.
Something never before experienced. 1941, a date which will live in...
And we continue this season's final edition of our Maxwell House Good News of 1930. Walter Winchell. Good evening, Mr. North American. All the ships at sea. Let's go to press.
We've been sending out our media broadcasts since the 1920s, when the first radio broadcasts were sent with any power. And then, in the 1930s, the first television signals were sent out, marking the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. These signals are still traveling away from Earth. The first television broadcasts are now reaching stars around 100 light years away. That covers about 15,000 stars by some estimates. If you want to learn more about this topic, I highly recommend the movie Contact. Now here I've included a broadcast map that you can use to see how far your favorite broadcasts may be viewed as new episodes. Just think, the Capellans are just now learning about the Apollo missions to the moon. And they're seeing the original episodes of Star Trek as brand new. And what if the aliens mistook Star Trek for a history lesson? Watch this clip of Galaxy Quest and see their take on this very concept.
My crew.
Dr. Lazarus. Lieutenant Madison. Young Laredo, how you've grown. Young Laredo. Tech Sergeant Jen. Tech Sergeant Jen. Tech Sergeant Jen.
Crewman number Guy.
You know us?
No. I don't believe there is a man, woman, or child on my planet who does not. For years since we first received transmission of your historical documents, we have studied every facet of your missions and strategies.
You've been watching the show?
Lieutenant, historical documents.
Historical documents from out here?
Yes. The past 100 years, our society had fallen into disarray. Our goals, our values had become scattered, but since the transmission, we have modeled every aspect of our society from your example, and it has saved us. your courage and teamwork and friendship through adversity. In fact, all you see around you has been taken from the lessons garnered from the historical documents.
Is this a spaceship?
No. This is a starport for the ship. Would you guys like to see the ship?
Although it seems like we're broadcasting a lot of signals for a long time, and the speed of light is really fast, our signals haven't even left the neighborhood of our place in the galaxy. Humans' presence in the galaxy is still a well-kept secret. That tiny blue blip near my cursor is our footprint in our own galaxy. Humbling, isn't it? And thank goodness, since we may not be alone. So what are the challenges of each of these two signal types? First, the direct signal. It's a narrowly focused beam, so it has a higher signal strength. Once it reaches its destination, it will be a much stronger signal, easier to detect. One major drawback, though, is because it is such a narrow signal, it will only likely be read by those that are very near the destination in that cone from source to target. It also requires a much higher power to send the signal. From the indirect or leakage perspective, it can reach a much larger audience because the electromagnetic signal travels with the inverse square, so it grows in coverage with distance. The big drawback, though, is because of this spreading out, the signal grows much weaker with increasing distance. One major advantage, though, is that it requires a much lower power. Our television and radio broadcasts are very low power by design, but yet they can be read for vast distances. Now, there are many challenges for our signals to be detected by extraterrestrials. And oh, by the way, if extraterrestrials are sending these same signal types, we have the same challenges detecting theirs. The first problem is, as you know from listening to your own car radio or television, you need to know the proper frequency to look for. Next, you need to be able to distinguish the signal from other noise in the same frequency. You also need to know the right time to listen. If the signal is not broadcast around the clock, you need to know the precise time that the signal will be available to you to detect. All of these together mean that the chances of finding a signal are very small. Now, although these challenges are many, the payoffs are obviously quite large. Thanks for joining.
She wanted to do this in person, flow for the room, but we lost in space, so hello from the moon.
I'm Siggy Blonde Sig, and I'd just like to say, Sammy Sam, you're my man. You blow me away. Got the wisdom, the knowledge, know your parameters. Make those other agents look like amateurs.
And more than that, Sam, you got class, ethics, taste, and all that jazz.
You're an inspiration, a stimulation for 20 years now, an illumination.
She met you, Sam, it's a lucky day. She can get on the phone and she can say,
wanna break bread with Durang, a film with Ang Lee, or stay at home, a full-time mommy. Or,
conversely,
I need some change, can you get me a gig? I need some high-heeled kicks for me and the kids.
When they clean glasses, we pour beer, a little toast from the moon with some New York flair.
But I love you, Sam, have a drink for me, cause we're on a quest
to the galaxy. Whoa, 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 whoa.